Yo, you are now tuning in to Hot Streak Podcast on Hits 101 Radio. What's good? It's your boy Carlos in the cut, and you already know I'm not alone in the studio.
Yup. Young Saif also here. What's popping?
Man, nothing much. Just getting over that excitement / disappointment that the football season has now finally come to an end.
Dude.
But it did not leave us on a bad note. We had probably one of the most exciting Super Bowls in a while. I mean, I don't know if it can top last year's Super Bowl just because like the whole comeback. But this year's Super Bowl was a shootout. It was nice. It was back and forth. You didn't really know what the hell was going to happen. It was a chess match. Yeah, it was a chess match to the end. And so obviously the Eagles and the Patriots played. Everyone knows the outcome. The Eagles, first-time Super Bowl champions. A little bit of information on the NFC East. It's the first division in the entire league that every team has won a Super Bowl at least one time. So that's a first for the first time for the Eagles. And apparently Tom Brady cannot beat NFC East opponents in the Super Bowl now because he couldn't beat the Giants. Well, he already beat the Eagles once, so I guess that is not accurate. But I mean, NFC East is the only team that can beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Initial thoughts on the game, Saif. What do you think?
I thought the game was exciting when they first scored in the first quarter. I think it was the first drive of the game. It only took it took actually 10 plays. Nick Foles was like marching down the field. I was impressed, and it's kind of what I expected, though, because I thought Nick Foles was competent enough to be an NFL quarterback with that great line that he has and all the assets that the Eagles had. I knew it wasn't just going to be a blowout, so I had a feeling it was going to be close. But, dude, what an exciting game. Like, the emotions were there, you know. It's like, I don't know how, but, like, the Super Bowl should just be a regular game, but it's always something crazy.
Yeah, I was not expecting that trick play. That was awesome. And
that was sick. Right after Brady missed the catch, the wide open catch.
Wide open, no one around him for at least 20 yards. And he had enough space, I think, to even get into the end zone, and he dropped the ball. And yeah, so I think Doug Peterson, the coach of the Eagles, definitely had studied last year's Super Bowl. He studied mostly the psychology of it. I mean, he did not take his foot off of the gas when it comes to calling the plays. He was very aggressive. He was aggressive with Nick Foles. He targeted the defense. He was clinical in his play calling, and it was just too much for the Patriots to handle. And the Patriots actually had a turnover. They forced a turnover and actually scored on that drive where they got the interception. But it was just too much. It was too much. Too much firepower, it seemed like, from the Eagles, and then their defense was playing great. I still think that the officiating was a little bit in favor of the Patriots, but it didn't really matter in the end. It was crazy. There's some stats, some numbers that I want to throw out there. So 1,151, that is the yards of total offense between the two teams, and that is a record for the Super Bowl as well as a game in general. So that is a lot of yards. The offenses were on fire. It's like they were just basically playing a shootout. It's almost like the defenses were told not to play hard enough. They're like, as long as Tom Brady gets the ball at the end, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. And obviously, we know what happened. He did have the ball in the end, and he wasn't able to complete that Hail Mary. But before that, there was only one sack in the entire game, which was a sack forced fumble where Brandon Graham stripped Tom Brady, and Derek Barnett recovered that. So they scored 3 points off of that turnover and extended the lead by 8 points. There was only one punt.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was
back and forth.
Just going. It was crazy. The Eagles were like amazing on third down as well. Like they just kept converting. 2 possessions of the Eagles' 10 possessions that didn't count in any points of some kind. That's impressive. 5 Patriots possessions out of 11 that didn't end up in any points. And they missed a 29-yard field goal and the end of the half, so that's why those didn't end up in any points. Malcolm Butler. So Malcolm Butler.
Yeah. What happened with him?
You know how the Patriots are super cryptic and they don't really give enough information. Malcolm Butler is a starter on their defense. He was demoted to special teams, did not play any defensive snaps the entire Super Bowl. And there was a lot of speculation, like what did he do? What was the reason behind him being benched? They just said, Bill Belichick said that he had to do what was best for the team in terms of trying to win this game. Malcolm Butler said that the Patriots gave up on him, and it is what it is. So 2 different sides of the coin there. I don't know if Malcolm Butler would have been able to shut down any of these receivers because they were catching everything for the Eagles. They literally were catching everything. The only time that they didn't catch one was where it ended up in an interception. But I don't know. Maybe he would have been a game changer. Let's not forget, Malcolm Butler is the cornerback who intercepted Russell Wilson at the goal line in that famous Super Bowl, Seahawks versus the Patriots, where they won it with that interception. He was the one who intercepted that ball. So it was pretty interesting. And then 4 extra point or 2-point conversions that were attempted and failed. It was crazy. They were just like, dude, we got to rack up
so
points.
Annoying.
Yeah, like two missed field goals, extra points, and then the Eagles didn't convert 2-point conversions.
Yeah, dude. Those kickers, I don't know. What was it? There was some excuse for.
Oh yeah, something about the logos on the turf. The Super Bowl 52 logo on the turf was right around the field goal areas for the extra points.
Yeah.
And then so 8.7 yards per attempt for the Eagles quarterback Nick Foles. For reference, the league leader in this category in the NFL this year was Drew Brees at 8.1. So he had a higher average than the league leader for the whole entire season. Tom Brady actually had 10.5 yards per attempt. He threw for 505 yards. And he had he had a great performance when it comes to throwing the ball. But, he just couldn't hold the ball on that last fumble.
Dude, that was just crazy. I was like, I don't know. They got so lucky with like a couple plays at the end there.
Yeah.
The Eagles. I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles, but like, it's just crazy. Like, I don't know.
It was insane. Honestly, it was one of the highlights of recent Super Bowls, just because it's icing on the cake for me, just because the Patriots lost, and I was just like, when he fumbled it, I was like, tuck that, man, tuck it.
Yeah.
But little Timmy Brady, what's going to happen with the Patriots? Is Bill Belichick coming back? Their defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, is now the head coach for the Lions. Josh McDaniels was apparently going to be the head coach of the Colts, and then they decided to call a press conference, and he's like, nah, I am not going to be the head coach of the Colts. So he's staying in New England for another season, but there's actually no guarantee that he's even staying in New England. There's no commitment for long term for the Patriots at all. Bill Belichick hasn't said anything about his future. We don't know if Tom Brady's going to stay playing or if he's going to retire. There's Gronkowski potentially retiring, contemplating it. I think that would be. I think he's only been in the league 10 years, or I want to say 8 to 10 years. If he retires, yeah. If he retires, that is a very short career. 2 Super Bowl wins, only one where he played in. lot of touchdowns. But that would be interesting. I mean, he is very, very injured. The guy has been hit. He's concussed, shoulder injuries, elbow injuries, back injuries, a lot of big injuries. You know what I mean? So he has to definitely debate about his future.
Yeah, it sucks to see it coming like this dynasty of the Patriots come to an end, because like it's kind of bittersweet. You know, it's one of the best dynasties in a long time, but then again, it's not your team, so it's like, damn.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about that dynasty. Oh,
dude,
man.
But 6 rings would have been ridiculous. No one needs 6 rings. He's already got 5. That's enough.
It also brings up the debate: is Tom Brady the best quarterback ever based on his Super Bowl record and his wins, or is Joe Montana, who went 4-0 in Super Bowls, and Terry Bradshaw, who also went undefeated in the Super Bowl, are they considered better quarterbacks or better in terms of like all-time great quarterbacks than Tom Brady because of their undefeated record in the Super Bowl? I think that's an entirely long conversation that can be going on for days because of just the fact of like the different time, the different the teams, the competition that they were played up against. But then again, you could say that Tom Brady had always had it easy since he had the league on his side. But I don't know. It's just it's a debate that will never be won by either party. But it's fun to talk about sometimes. You know what I mean? Throw that out there. But as far as the Eagles, I think they have a dilemma. What are they going to do with Nick Foles? What does Nick Foles want to do? I don't think he's done. He just got all the confidence back that he needs to be a starter anywhere. He can be a starter on any team. And
dude, we were just talking about it too right before. We said, what if he wins? Like, what's going to happen? But we both agreed, right? Carson Wentz would probably start.
I think Carson Wentz is going to be the starter in Philadelphia because he's the reason why they were in the position to win those games, to get to the playoffs. Without Carson Wentz, they don't get to the playoffs. But Nick Foles can potentially take over for Jacksonville, for Arizona, for Denver, for the Jets, for the Browns. He can go to a variety of different teams and potentially have a good impact. I think the best fit for him would probably be Jacksonville because he has a great defense to lean up against, and he has a nice running back who can carry the load for him, so the pressure can be taken off of him. Even though he's an MVP, pressure is probably nothing to him. I mean, he executed this game flawlessly, and I don't know. I'm interested to see what the offseason holds, just because of this. This was unexpected. I didn't expect it to happen like the way it did. Basically, they just punched the Patriots in the mouth, and they were stunned the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like what happened this whole season. We just got so many unexpected things happening, dude. With all the injuries, these protests, like everything surrounding the NFL was just kind of unexpected this season. The teams you thought were going to do good didn't do good. Some teams you thought were going to do bad did good. So it's like it's kind of similar to everything that happened the rest of the season. It's just a shocker.
Yeah, and I can thoroughly enjoy this season. Amazing highlights throughout the whole year. Some great individual performances, some great team performances. It was a great season, and it's sad to see it end, but on to this long off season to dwell on the chances of your team trying to get to the Super Bowl next year. It's going to be a fun ride, and I'm glad we were able to debut this show with the birth of this season, because basically that's what happened. It was like August or July where we just decided to make this show. And we're like, football season's coming up. It's going to happen. Basketball season's on the horizon too. So shout out to the NFL, shout out to Hot Streak, and shout out to Hits 101 Radio. But I think that's pretty much it for this segment. the last segment for the NFL for a couple of months. Actually, I was gonna say a few weeks, but it's a couple of months. Yeah, so keep it locked. We have some good tunes coming up for you, and then we're gonna highlight some NBA and soccer news. So stay tuned. This is Conor McGregor, and you're now listening to Hot Streak.
And we're back. Hope you guys enjoyed the music. Yeah, so we got NBA news to cover, and there's a lot of drama, like it always is. And so I guess this year is no different. We'll start off with something petty. The Lakers were fined $50,000 because Magic Johnson violated some
tampering
basically
rules.
Magic Johnson said that Giannis Antetokounmpo would lead his team to the NBA championship, get MVP, and put Milwaukee on the map. And an executive can't be making them statements, I guess.
Yeah, so they fired him petty
for
cash.
Tampering. Yeah, for petty cash tampering, which he's a billionaire. He doesn't give half a fuck about that. Well, he's rich, so yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bullshit fine, but I guess the rules are in place for that kind of reason. Magic Johnson is getting invited to all these interviews, getting invited to all these late night talk shows, and Magic Johnson likes to talk. So he's getting fined because he just keeps talking. I don't know. It's kind of, I'm like, Magic, just please, like, get it together. Like, focus on the trade deadline. Who you trying to pick up? Like, what is gonna happen?
Speaking of that, apparently they've shifted some of their focus to the 2019 class.
Yeah.
So they're thinking of getting, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi
Leonard. Yeah. I think it's because the improvement in the Lakers roster. I would say that the Lakers draft class has in the past couple of seasons, like let's give some credit to Brandon Ingram. He's been playing well. He hasn't had the point evolution that we want him to have, like averaging over 20 points a game. But when he's been needed to play well, he has been playing well recently. Larry Nance has been playing great. Julius Randle has increased his productivity. Josh Hart is someone who I think flew very much under the radar in this draft. He's a champion with Villanova, a 4-year college athlete. This guy, he plays great defense. He's a hustle player.
Took a little while to find his shot.
Yeah,
it's just a rookie rust.
Yeah, he has 2 double-doubles in the last 2 games, and they've given him a nickname in the Lakers locker room.
Charles Barkley, right?
Yeah, Josh Barkley, because he plays much bigger than he actually is. And I mean, he was guarding Russell Westbrook. You can't stop Russell Westbrook. He's still going to put up 36 points on you. But the fact that he played great defense when it came to switching on Paul George or switching on Carmelo, he is not scared for the challenge. I like that about him. He's been playing very well. I mean, of course, Kyle Kuzma has been playing great. Lonzo Ball has still yet to come back from his injury, but that's not because he's severely injured. It's just precautionary. They don't want to rush him back. An MCL sprain is something you don't really want to aggravate. So keeping him on the bench, riding the pine for a while, as long as the team plays well. I like the way it's looking right now. I mean, they've won 8 of the last 10. Just finished a very good road trip. Came out on top of a lot of those games where it looked like they needed to be playing hard and playing fast and strong. So that was good. As far as the West goes, I don't know, man. James Harden is the real deal. James Harden is putting up MVP type numbers. I think he probably wins MVP. I don't really see who else could be the MVP of the league right now. James Harden is putting on a show. Like he's automatic.
His team's doing great.
Yeah, and with that,
we got a little bit of breaking news.
I
guess we have an update. We were talking about injuries. Kristaps Porzingis has suffered a torn ACL on his left knee. and he's out for the whole season.
Yep.
But they have a timeable return after his surgery's done, but it's looking like season ending.
Yeah, this happened Tuesday. We obviously record Tuesdays, and I was telling Saif before we started recording this that it does not look good. Very unfortunate news. I mean, he was playing great. He was having a great year, and the Knicks they were playing better with him at the lead role. It's very unfortunate. Poor New York Knicks fans. You had very little to cheer about. Now Madison Square Garden is probably going to be empty.
Yeah, seriously. You just put it all in perspective right now.
Yeah, it's oh man. Poor Zingard. Get well soon.
He's a Knick, but I'm pretty sure everyone in the league loves Porzingis, dude. We got so many big men falling. We just had DeMarcus Cousins fall last week, torn Achilles. That also affects this whole the off-season trades and
the free agency. Yeah, because I think the Lakers, when it comes to free agency this year, they were definitely trying to get DeMarcus Cousins. That was number one on their objective list. And when he went down, they had to reevaluate their entire plan. Like,
yep.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And
will he be the same player? Who knows?
That even puts the Julius Randle contract and restricted free agency on the chopping block. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to get rid of Julius Randle for nothing? Or are you going to sign him for another year? Maybe sign him to a 3-year, 4-year deal for, I don't know, a reasonable amount, because I don't think paying him that much money is worth it. Even though I know he's not an egotistical guy, but he has an ego. He thinks he's the best on the court when he's on the court, which every player should think. It's a great mentality. I don't think he brings the best offensive prowess to the team, but if they re-sign him, for something that isn't astronomical numbers, then I think it's a good choice. Because then at that point you have an asset, and if he continues to play well, then he's just going to grow. People are going to be intrigued. Oh, he just signed, but maybe if we throw this piece at the Lakers and this piece at the Lakers, maybe they'll trade him and we'll get something back, But as far as that we'll just have to wait until that takes into effect into the off season. And then John Wall. We already talked about John Wall and the Wizards?
No, we haven't talked about John Wall yet.
So John Wall is injured. He'll be injured for a couple of weeks. I think he just had surgery on his knee. And there's been some chatter from some Wizards players saying that they're better without him. That they get more shots up without John Wall on the court. They have more opportunities to shine without John Wall on the court. John Wall.
I want to believe that as just a fact, though, right? Because one player from the starting lineup's gone, so obviously, his shots are gone.
Yeah, that's a definite fact.
Of course,
but John Wall being on the court makes everyone else better because he is a threat offensively, so he's going to attract a lot of defensive attention, and then he can also give you 10 assists a night. John Wall's he's not a ball hog. In any sense of the word, I don't think he's a ball hog. He's a very good player, and he's a very team-oriented type player. That's kind of, maybe they're going to start the division in the locker room, and maybe there's going to be some trade talks coming about this pretty soon. I don't know.
That's crazy. I mean, I don't think he's a problem on the team. I think he's one of the best players, but you can make the argument that although he's the best player, or you like his gameplay, that his way of playing his position maybe isn't with the rest of the flow of the other players, that it's just maybe a mismatch with how they play. So maybe like they're expecting to be somewhere, or I don't know, maybe they just like the way they play the game rather than him, because he's controlling the ball a lot of the time and the flow of their offense. But I don't know. I don't think that makes them a better team without him, because it's like when Lonzo Ball left the Lakers and they started winning a few. after they lost a bunch when he left, it's like I don't think they're a better team, but yeah, they can beat some teams and still win. They're an NBA team,
Yeah, and then it's going to take some time to get adjusted to losing an essential part of your team for an extended period of time. Like you're obviously going to struggle the first couple of games when you're missing your starting point guard, but then your team's going to find ways to adjust. And I think the Wizards are just adjusting, and maybe the quote was taken out of context, but I don't think I don't think they're a better team without John Wall.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that.
Oh man, I'm still shook over this Porzingis news. It's terrible.
Did we already talk about LeBron and the Cavs?
Oh, we have not.
The whole situation. Because basically, we've been following this story, I guess, every week. It's just been getting more clear and clear because we had suspicions that, the Cavaliers were basically imploding and that LeBron's relationship with them is bad, but no one knew for certain. And now we kind of know that he has no relationship with the front office. No one's talking to him. Dan Gilbert's not talking to him. And he's not in their future. And I don't think they're in his future either, because they kind of expect him to be gone. And he just actually decided that he's not going to waive the no trade clause in his contract. So he's going to stick with them the rest of the season, which I respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going to hell right now. Like the teams.
Yeah, they're. If you remember, a couple years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, LeBron is the general manager of the Cavaliers. He is he's picking and choosing which guys he wants on his team to try to beat everyone in the league to get to a championship. This year obviously has been a different story. There's a lack of productivity between them. They cannot defend to save their lives. It's ridiculous. Yep. It's like they don't want to play. LeBron James has even said after they lost to the Rockets this past weekend, he said to take off all their games from national television. He doesn't want to play on national TV because they've gotten blown out. They haven't won a single game on national television this year.
Damn.
That is an amazing statistic when you think about a LeBron James led team. LeBron James has been on some bad teams before, but he has done so much for those teams where it overshadows the shittiness of his teammates, and it makes the Cavs look like a great team because of LeBron. LeBron's doing all the same things that he's been doing his entire career, and they're losing. They're losing bad. Getting blown out by 30 by Houston, losing a 21-point lead against Orlando, letting I think it was John Simmons or Sessions, I forget his name. But he scored 35 points on the Cavs. Like, easy money. It's over. The Cavs got a clean house. It's over. But I think they've been shopping J.R. Smith. They're trying to get rid of probably Crowder. I feel so bad for Jay Crowder because this guy played his heart out last year with Boston. He established himself as a premier defender, 3-and-D type of player, and he's bench ridden. He's not producing with the Cavs, and I don't know what's going to happen with them. LeBron's era in Cleveland is over. Honestly, I think if he's trying to win a championship, he's going to Houston.
Yeah, I gotta say that would be the easier route too. I think it would be more comfortable just to end it in LA, but he's got some good options. Let's just say that.
Yeah, if he really wants to get another ring, he's probably going to go to Houston, I think.
Yeah.
If he's comfortable with his legacy,
or the Spurs.
Yeah, or the Spurs, depending on what happens with Kawhi.
True.
But you could put LeBron at the 4, LaMarcus at the 5, and Kawhi at the 3.
I'm just excited for who the Lakers are going to get because they're getting someone, man. We're getting someone. That's all I know.
My whole thing is, what if the Lakers don't get anyone this offseason who's a big free agent, but they get productivity from the young guys on their team? Like, they establish themselves in the league. That would be something. because
I
then
want both.
I want both too. I definitely want both. I don't know what Paul George is gonna do. If the Thunder get bounced out of the playoffs in the first round, I don't think Paul George stays with the Thunder. But he says he's happy with the Thunder, and he's happy as Russell Westbrook's.
He's coming to LA, bro. I still have no question about that. I still don't.
All right, we'll see.
Unless they win the championship. Dude, because he has to say, I'm happy here right now.
No, yeah, he definitely has to say that.
Like, he's got to, but he's a Laker, bro. I'm telling you.
I'm eager to see it. All of this come out.
You guys heard it here first. Hot Street Podcast.
Believe it. Speak it into existence.
Straight up.
Yeah, unless we have any other news on NBA stuff, I think that's pretty much it for the segment. What do you say, Saif?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, dude.
Hey, for sure. So keep it locked, guys. We got some more music coming up for you, and then I'm gonna go into some analysis, some soccer analysis. So yeah, keep it locked.
This is Trey Hermoso, and you're listening to Hot Street Podcast.
Yo, we're back on Hot Street Podcast. What's good? It's your boy Carlos. And I'm going to bring you some soccer news quick and blazing speed real quick. So starting off in the English Premier League, last weekend we had some interesting matchups. Liverpool faced off against Tottenham, and it was a crazy game. Some great goals. Ended up 2-2. Harry Kane got his 100th goal for Tottenham. So that's a very nice big achievement, even though I'm not a big fan of that team. But yeah, it was that was a very good game. Chelsea, oh man, Chelsea has lost 3 straight games by a margin of 2 goals or more. They recently just lost this Monday, and they got obliterated 4-1. The hot seat, Antonio Conte is now on the hot seat. He's the manager for Chelsea, and he's been having some issues with that team. So keep an eye out for that. They got some pretty tough schedules coming up. It does not get easier for them. We'll talk about the Champions League a little bit later, but the top of the table remains the same: Manchester City and Manchester United in 1 and 2. Arsenal has a chance to push into the top 4 or push into fight for a top 4 spot this coming weekend. They face off against Tottenham Hotspur, and Arsenal is coming off some nice wins. They are playing a little bit more inspired lately. They have, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is a huge signing for them. So hopefully he can build off of his debut. He scored a goal in his debut, and it's gonna be a pretty tight second half of the season for these clubs on the fringe of qualifying for a European spot in the next year's Champions League. So the way it works, you finish top 4 in the Premier League, you get a spot in the Champions League. I think it's top 4 for Spanish, for English leagues, and then top 3 for German, French, and Italian leagues. And then the smaller leagues around Europe, they get either the 1 or 2 spot for their tables that get placed into the Champions League. And then there's knockout stages between that, but we're not there yet, so we wouldn't need to talk about that just yet. Staying in the Premier League here, highlights for the Mexicans in the Premier League, bruh. My boy Chicharito has been on a freaking scoring craze the past 2 games. Scored a wonderful goal earlier this week, and has been playing lights out lately. That's a West Ham United versus Watford this weekend. We have Manchester City versus Leicester City. Some drama between these two, involving these two teams. Leicester City, the team right now that holds the player Mirares. He is an Algerian player. Very, very talented guy. He was actually going to make the move to Manchester City in January, but they blocked the move, so he's missed training for like a week. He's on a boycott, but look for that move to be adjusted in the summer. And then Manchester United versus Newcastle, and Southampton versus Liverpool this weekend. So some pretty good games coming up for the Premier League. Keep an eye out on that. Let's take a trip to the Spanish League. This past weekend, the Spanish giants, Barcelona, were up against Espanyol. That's a derby, and two bitter rivals. And it was a very hard-fought game. They ended up tying 1-1. A late goal by Barcelona to bring that tie up. And they have the record now for 22-game unbeaten streak. That's the new record for La Liga. So they have not lost in the league this season. That game was crazy because it was pouring rain. Like, if you think you've seen pouring rain, like, you have not seen it like that. It was legit. The ball was not rolling on the field. It was just that drenched. And Real Madrid ended up tying at the last second. They were actually winning at the last second, and then the other team tied it for them. The look on Cristiano Ronaldo's face was priceless. So they dropped points, but I don't know. They're in fourth place. They're about 18 points behind Barcelona, which is the league leaders, and Atletico Madrid is actually in second place now. They're 5 points behind, I think. So the title race is not over for Barcelona. They still have a lot of work to do, and they have to watch about not getting burnt out. They have a lot of crucial players that were given rest, and they have a lot of big games coming up too. So this weekend we have Atletico Madrid versus Malaga. We have Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. Hopefully that's a good game. These two teams always like to bring out the best in each other. And then Barcelona plays against Getafe this weekend. Valencia versus Levante and Sevilla versus Girona. So that's going to be a pretty good matchup this weekend. Keep your eye out for some spectacular goals. Maybe Philippe Coutinho gets his first Barcelona goal this weekend, hopefully. And in the German league, we have some pretty good news when it comes to Bayern Munich. James Rodriguez, the Colombian striker, he is on loan from Real Madrid. He obviously did not have a very good tenure with that club. They ditched him after 2 seasons. So he's on loan at Bayern Munich, and he is fit like a glove in that team. He's playing spectacular right now. Honestly, he's been scoring some great goals. He's just fit perfectly with that team. So Bayern is happy to have him. They're going to be going up against Schalke this weekend. Borussia Dortmund, who also has some interesting rumors flying around them. The American Christian Pulisic has actually been rumored for moves to Manchester United, Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain. So PSG might even want this kid, and of course Bayern Munich. So they're going to face off against Hamburg, Borussia Dortmund versus Hamburg this weekend, and the table is the same. I mean, Bayern Munich's running away with that league, so keep a lookout for some spectacular goals from the German league as well. And then in the French league, more issues with Neymar. Neymar, I don't know how to describe him. He's been acting very childish lately. A lot of rumors coming out from his days in Barcelona, showing up drunk to practice even. He's not happy, or so it seems. He's not happy with his life right now in Paris. And there's been rumors swirling he might move to Real Madrid in the summer. I don't know what's going to happen. But
he better not do that.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. I'll say some very mean things off air if he does that. So this weekend, PSG versus Toulouse, Saint Etienne versus Marseille, AC Monaco versus Angers, which is a pretty good game for AC Monaco because they've been playing great lately. They're not catching up like super quick to PSG in the table, but they're playing really good right now. I think they're all on a 5 or 6 game win streak. And Lyon versus Stade Rennais. So the French league is looking pretty competitive right now amongst themselves. And then in the Italian league, Juventus on Friday they actually played already. when this is airing. They were playing against Fiorentina, AC Milan versus Sapal, and Inter. Where's Inter? Oh, Inter versus Bologna, and Roma versus another small table team. I forgot about Napoli. Napoli plays on Saturday against Lazio. So the Italian league is actually the most competitive when it comes to the 1 and 2 spots. They're within a point of each other. It's still Juventus and Napoli. Napoli with 60 points and Juventus with 59. So I think it's going to become the title race is going to go between those two when they match up in the next couple of weeks. We'll see a decision for the winner of that league, it looks like. And then hooray for everybody, man. Champions League is back Tuesday, February 13th and Wednesday, February 14th. We have some games from the Champions League. We have FC Basel versus Manchester City on Tuesday. And we have Juventus versus Tottenham on Tuesday as well. And then Wednesday, we got some pretty good games. FC Porto versus Liverpool. And the blockbuster right here. Everyone's waiting for this one. Real Madrid versus Paris Saint-Germain. Fireworks is all I can say. Fireworks. Hey. And then the next games for the Champions League are going to begin on February 20th and the 21st. And we'll have updates on that once we're closer to that. But as far as soccer news, World Cup, 130-something days away. Woo! I'm counting down the milliseconds. It's going to be great. I can't wait. And that's it for the soccer news for this week. Keep it locked on Hot Streak. Quick shout out, quick plugs. Hits 101 Radio. Yeah. So if you guys want to listen to Hot Streak with some tunes, obviously tune into Hits 101 Radio. If not, you can find us on all streaming services. What was I going to say? Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and iTunes at Hot Streak Podcast. And then follow us on Instagram at Hot Streak Podcast, on Twitter at Hot Streak Pod, POD, and CRP Shows. Make sure you follow CRP Shows on all social media at CRP Shows. And then, Saif, you want to give a plug?
Just follow us on Instagram, Hot Streak Podcast.
Hey.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. That's it, man. See y'all next week.
This was a Cesar Rodriguez production. Check out more at crpshows.com.